The rain poured endlessly that night, a heavy, relentless storm beating against the tall glass walls of Daniel Carter's luxurious mansion. To the world, Daniel was the picture of success, a self-made millionaire, founder of a renowned tech empire, and a man who seemed to have everything one could dream of. But inside those walls, something silent and broken was waiting to be seen, something far more valuable than all the wealth he had ever earned. Before we go any further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of love over neglect, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the Kindness Journal YouTube channel. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that need them most. Daniel had always believed he was doing the right thing. He worked tirelessly to provide the best life for his family. His wife, Laura, stayed home to take care of their only child, 8-year-old Ethan, a quiet boy with a gentle heart and eyes that spoke more than his lips ever did. Daniel thought their home was peaceful, that Ethan was happy, and that Laura's occasional sternness was just part of being a responsible mother. But truth has a way of hiding behind closed doors, and Daniel had never looked close enough to see the shadows creeping beneath his child's smile. Every morning, Ethan would stand by the window as his father's black car disappeared through the gates. His small hand would wave, and his lips would whisper a faint, "Bye, Dad," before the house fell silent again. That silence, though, was not peaceful, it was suffocating. As soon as Daniel left, Laura's tone would change. Her patience would vanish. To her, Ethan was a constant reminder of the life she felt trapped in, a life she never wanted. She resented him for the attention Daniel gave whenever he was home. Every mistake Ethan made, no matter how small, became an excuse for Laura's anger to erupt. It began with harsh words. Then came the pushing. The slaps. The punishments that no child deserved. She would lock him in his room for hours, deny him dinner if he talked back, and sometimes worse. Ethan learned to stay silent, to hide his tears behind the sound of rain or television, and to tell himself that maybe he deserved it. He was too young to understand that what was happening wasn't love. It was cruelty disguised as care. Days turned into months, and Daniel remained blind to the truth. He'd see his son's quiet nature as shyness. The faint marks on his arms were brushed off as accidents, rough play, perhaps, or falling at school. He trusted Laura. After all, she was his wife, the woman he believed would protect their child as fiercely as he would. One afternoon, Daniel arrived home earlier than usual, a rare thing. His company had closed an important deal, and he wanted to surprise his family, to spend some real time with them. But as he entered the house, what he heard froze him in place. The sound of crying, muffled, trembling, coming from upstairs. And Laura's voice, sharp and angry. He climbed the stairs slowly, each step heavier than the last, until he reached Ethan's room. The door was slightly open. Inside, he saw something that would haunt him forever, Ethan cowering in a corner, his small arms raised as if to shield himself, and Laura standing above him with her hand clenched tightly around a belt. Laura. Daniel's voice thundered through the room. The belt slipped from her hand. Ethan froze. For a moment, no one moved. The air itself felt shattered. Daniel rushed to his son, pulling him close. And that's when he saw them, the bruises. Dark, ugly marks painting his child's fragile skin. His breath caught in his throat. "Who did this to you?" he whispered, his voice breaking. Ethan looked up, tears streaming down his cheeks, and said nothing. He didn't have to. The silence said everything. Daniel turned toward his wife, his heart pounding. "What have you done?" he shouted, but Laura only crossed her arms, her face cold. "Don't act surprised, Daniel. You were never here. You don't know what it's like raising him alone." Her words hit him like a knife. He wanted to scream, to deny it, but deep down he knew he had been absent. He had left Ethan in a home that wasn't safe because he thought money and comfort could replace presence and love. That night, Daniel packed Ethan's small backpack, held his trembling hand, and walked out of the house without looking back. The storm outside mirrored the one inside him, guilt, anger, heartbreak, and determination all crashing together. They checked into a hotel, where Ethan slept curled up beside him, his small hand clutching his father's sleeve tightly, as if afraid he might vanish too. Daniel couldn't sleep. He sat beside the window, staring at the city lights, tears silently running down his face. How had he missed the signs? How had he failed the one person who needed him most? In that moment, Daniel made a promise that no amount of business, money, or success would ever come before his child again. The next day, he went to the authorities. It was painful, the questions, the investigation, the betrayal, but he knew it had to be done. Laura faced legal consequences for her abuse, and though Daniel's heart ached for the family that had been torn apart, he knew this was the beginning of something better. Ethan began therapy. The first few sessions were quiet. He would draw pictures instead of talking. One day, he drew a picture of two people standing under the rain, a big man holding an umbrella over a small boy. When the therapist asked who they were, Ethan said softly, "That's me and Daddy." He didn't see me before, but now he does. Daniel saw the drawing when he picked Ethan up that day. He couldn't stop his tears. He knelt down, hugged his son tight, and whispered, "I see you now, buddy. I promise, I'll never stop seeing you." Over time, their lives slowly healed. Daniel cut down his work hours and began volunteering for child protection programs. He started a foundation that provided counseling and legal aid for children facing domestic abuse. Every time he spoke publicly, he shared Ethan's story, not to gain sympathy, but to remind people that sometimes the greatest pain hides behind the quietest faces. Months later, Daniel and Ethan moved into a smaller, cozier house by the lake, a place filled with laughter, paintings, and bedtime stories instead of silence and fear. Ethan began smiling more, laughing at silly jokes, running in the garden without glancing over his shoulder. And every night before bed, Daniel would tuck him in and whisper, "You're safe now. You're loved." One evening, as they watched the sunset together, Ethan looked up and said, "Daddy, do you think bad things happen for a reason?" Daniel paused, then nodded gently. "Sometimes they do, because they teach us what truly matters." He hugged his son closer. "And for me, that's you." As the orange light bathed them both, Daniel realized something he wished he'd understood years ago. Success isn't about money or reputation, it's about showing up for the people who love you, about protecting innocence before it's lost, and about having the courage to face the truth even when it breaks your heart. If this story touched your heart or made you reflect on the power of love, awareness, and second chances, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. Your support helps spread more stories that heal, inspire, and awaken compassion in our world. Before we end, I'd love to hear from you. Comment below and tell us what moment in this story moved you the most, or share your thoughts about what being present truly means. Your words might be the light someone else needs today. Because sometimes, the smallest act of awareness can save a life, and sometimes, realizing too late can change everything forever.